Hello again, everyone. Today's card is kind of almost finished, but I'm going to carry on and finish and show you en route a couple of clever tips, I think, for avoiding problems along the way. The first thing I'm using is this background that I made the other day. And if you remember, this is a Creative Depot. It's an impression die, not a cutting die. So it's impressed these little hearts into the card front. But the sandwich was kind of tight when I went through, and one of them punched right out and the little heart is missing. So to get round that, I can't find a little bit of heart, but there is a way of using this so it looks as if it's all there, even though it isn't. And that is to stick it directly down onto the card. Can you see? It looks like it's just the impression. So I'm going to put some adhesive on the back of this, ensuring that I go around that bit that's missing, so that bit will be absolutely flat to the card base. So I'll use my tape runner, but go right around this bit here. I may even put a little bit of glue on there as well, just to make sure that that little bit stays absolutely flat to the card base. So that's the first thing. We're going to kind of work backwards, I think. Going to be a little bit crazy, but we'll see how we go. Right, let's just do this. I might actually do that around there. That's probably enough for that. Right, we'll stick this on. The hearts are all facing the right way. The card's the right way up, so I'm going to stick this down. Just checking the corners, making sure all the edges are parallel. Okay. Just need a bit of paper towel just to press down hard. Oh, looks like there's a bit of glue there. Let me get a paper, what do you call it? Baby wipe. That's got it. See, that's another little trick that if you do get a little glue on the right side of something, fresh, clean baby wipe gently can sometimes get you out of the problem. Okay, next thing is I've got a couple of things here from this peanut set. I bought it in Craft Stash, and I wanted to use this wreath die and stamp, but it does present a bit of a problem if you want to actually die cut it. Because obviously you want to have, let me just take him out a minute, you want to have the same space all the way round. But if you've stamped it and you've coloured it and you go to put this on, how do you know exactly where to do it? So I'm going to show you. So with this one, I stamped with VersaFine Clair, and I clear embossed. So I think I'll do the same again. There we go. All right. Now the main focus of this video really is to show you, a few hints. And one of them is how to cut this out. But incidentally, I'm going to be colouring it, so I'll do that as well as. I've got a few colours of Nouveau markers here. Just stuck myself with my pokey tool. Oh dear, I've got this little, I'll show you. I've got this little tool caddy here, and I can just put things in like this as I'm using them. And I went to put something in and stabbed myself with one of those. So do take care. There's real blood there. Look, it's very small, but it's there. Right, here we go. Let's just do this colouring. Right, I'm going to start by going around. I want to get a little bit of dimension. I don't know if you can see here. So I started by going around the edge, just coming in randomly a little bit with the darker of the two greens. These are Nouveau markers. I've had them for a little while. I don't want to let them go dry. I've got my Ohuhus as well, but just for quickness, I'm using my Nuvos, and they are a good alternative if you haven't got alcohol markers and you'd like to go into the alcohol route. Marker I'm talking about, not gin, you understand. The Nuvo ones are not a bad way to go, really. They're not incredibly expensive. They've got a limited number of colours, but they have got some really good colours for pairing, for shading. So, you know, different shades of the same colour. So let's just go through here. I'll speed this up perhaps a little bit. It's just, I'm just going up to the edge. The fact that I have heat embossed it means that line is now just slightly raised, which means that, you know, it's almost like a little barrier, a little bumper to go up to, so that you don't go outside the lines so readily, if you are disposed to going outside the lines, of course. So I'm just finishing off around here, and can you see the inside lines are just, they're not straight, they're just going in and out, because I want to blend those with the lighter of the two shades of green in a moment. Okay, I am actually going to go round. I don't know what these things are. I think they're little baubles or something, a little something fancy. So I'm just going to go around these things with the deeper green as well. There we go. Right, that's all those done. Now I'm going to, this one's called Hunter Green, and this one is Vine Leaf. So now with the Vine Leaf, I'm going to fill in the gaps and go over where I have already coloured so that the two colours blend together. So let's start here. Can you see, if you go over the join, the two merge into one. So I'm going to go all the way around doing this, but I will speed it up because otherwise it's going to be considerably tedious. Now, if anywhere you see that the join of the two shades is kind of harsh, just go over it a few times with the light, the one you're just using, and it will blend in. Okay, now when that was finished, I thought to myself, it does look a little flat. So what I did was to take the darker again of the two colours, and I'm just putting some little dots all over it, because these are leaves after all, they're branches, so they're not all smooth and flat. So I'm just doing little dots all over. Okay, now for the red, the bow. I tend to do the dark one first. It doesn't really matter greatly. If you could do either. A little bit of the dark one. And then with the other. There we are. Now, for the bauble-y things, I just use my Spectrum Noir metallic paint marker. This is the medium-sized one. And I just simply put a dot on each of the baubles or whatever they are. Okay. Now, this is the bit where some people may grind to a bit of a halt, because we want to cut this out. But this die is a solid die, which means that you can't see through it. And the reason that it is solid is because it needs to cut two lines at the same time. And so they've got to be joined somehow. And they either have to be joined with a little skinny piece of metal, which would leave a mark probably, or completely filled in like this. This gives the better cut, but it presents the problem of how do you get that accurately over there, leaving a precise border all the way round. And the way to do it is using a window. So what I've done, I've cut this just from a piece of copy paper, and I'm going to use this as my window around this stamping so that it is equal all the way around. And then all I have to do is to pop that into the gap, and I can feel when it's in the gap because it's got a little tiny ledge where the copy paper ends. So now I'm going to just tape it to the card and pop it into my die cutting machine. And there is our wreath cut out beautifully with the same border all the way around. But what I want to do next is the little sentiment says joy. This is from Lou Collins, one of Lou Collins's collections, and I'm going to cut it from this little piece of scrap card and then colour the letters with my gold marker pen. It's a Spectrum Noir paint, metallic paint marker. Okay, as I take this off, I think they're going to come out. Yes, they are. So I would like to keep them still to colour them. So I'm going to put a little piece of this low-tack tape on the back, like this, and then just pop these letters back in so that the low-tack tape will just keep them still while I add some colour to them. Okay. J-O and the Y. Right. I'll colour them with this marker. This is the broad one of the gold set. I love the finish of these. They're satiny sort of look, and it matches the obviously the gold of that I put onto the wreath. Okay. Now that will take just a little while to dry, because how I want to keep them in line is by putting a piece of press and seal on. And if it's not dry, I'm going to pull some of the gold off onto the press and seal. So let me just see if we can do this. Now try and take this off the back, leaving the letters in or on the press and seal. Okay, so far so good. Now I will use a bit of glue on the back of the letters, only a trace. Okay, leave those there just for a moment because I'm going to start putting my card together. So here's my card base. There's the hearts, and you can't tell that that one's got a thing missing anymore, can you? Now I'm going to put a Snoopy in here, and he will be the subject of another video. So I'm going to pop him in like this, and then I'm going to just put some foam tape on the back so that it's slightly raised from the surface of the card. Foam tape is here. Let's just pop some on. I want to put a bit across him to see. I think he looks okay like that. Okay, let's put a piece across like that. That looks... oh, I can't see it. Thought I was putting it somewhere where I could... He should be all held in now because he's got foam tape on him in a couple of places. All right. There we go. Yep, all good. So now I'm going to take this off the back. A little bit of glue stick. And he's going to go about there like that. Now the joy. Hopefully they're kind of stuck to the press and seal. Oh, they come off. Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. There's always a way, isn't there? Always a way. So now what I'm going to do is put the joy, I think I'm going to have it about there. So what I'm going to do is just pop these letters back through there, and then they should stick down on my card. Let's try the O. And the Y. I didn't want to press too hard with the press and seal. The reason being that the press and seal has got a kind of texture that would have transferred to the gold. So I'm just going to press those down, and there we are. We're done. Took me a bit of a while, but I think it's quite a fun way of doing it. And I hope you've got, you know, a few tips from how to cut out when you're trying to cut out blind. You can't see what's behind it. So do remember that the window is always a really good plan for making sure you can see what you're cutting. And as for colouring, using a little bit of embossing powder over your lines helps to keep you within them. So there we go, another Christmas card, one less for me to make in a mad dash at the end of November. So thanks for joining me, and come back and see me very soon.